Hello and welcome to another video for Minus Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's now quite old. It's become very collectible and is becoming increasingly more difficult to find in any condition, really. We are looking at the 1994 release by Applause from their Star Trek Generations series of collectible figurines. And this particular one we're looking at today is of none other than the two captains. If you remember that slogan, two captains, one destiny. Well, it's that particular figurine from the Nexus when they're both on horseback. And it's obviously all based on the Star Trek Generations movie, which was a 1994 American science fiction film. And it was the 7th film in the Star Trek series. And it joins the two casts from the two Star Trek main shows, so from Star Trek the original series from the 1960s and Star Trek the Next Generation from the 1980s. And obviously stars that had joined the cast was none other than William Shatner, Captain James T. Kirk, Patrick Stewart obviously as Captain Jean-Luc Picard. You also had James Doohan as Commander Scott, Walter Koenig as Pavel Chekhov, all from the original series. And then of course you had the entire cast from Star Trek The Next Generation. Incidentally, they just finished filming the final episodes of Star Trek Next Generation, All Good Things. And then but they went straight to the set of Star Trek Generations to start recording the movie. So the movie basically bridges the gap between the original series and the Next Generation. So it's the year is 2293 and Kirk, Scott and Chekhov are all retired officers, and they attend the maiden voyage of the brand new USS Enterprise B. Now during the shakedown cruise, the starship is pressed into a rescue mission to save two Elorian refugee ships from a massive energy ribbon. Now, the Enterprise saves some of the refugees before their ships are destroyed, but becomes trapped by the ribbon itself, and Kirk goes to the control room to help the ship escape. Now while the Enterprise is freed, Kirk is presumed lost in space and dead after the trailing end of the ribbon tears open the ship's hull. And then the timeline moves to 2371, and the crew of the Enterprise D, they're on a holodeck simulation, celebrating the promotion of shipmate Worf to Lieutenant Commander. And Captain Picard then learns that his brother and nephew have been killed in a fire, and a distraught Picard family line will end with him. Now the Enterprise receives a distress call from Stellar Observatory, where an Elorian Dr. Thorian Soren launches a probe at the nearby star. And the probe causes the star to implode, creating a shockwave that destroys its planetary system. Soren then goes on to kidnap the Enterprise engineer chief Geordi LaForge, and they get transported onto the Klingon bird of prey, which belonged to the Duress sisters. But to cut a long story short, they end up going into the Nexus, and Picard finds Kirk, brings him back out the Nexus to prevent Soren from finding that missile that would destroy the Viridian 3 star system that moves the Nexus, so that he gets taken into it. Anyway, let's cut all that story out. Let's look at the item we're here to look at today. This is the box it comes in, and it says at the top, not a toy, for decoration only. You got the Star Trek logo, and it says Star Trek Generations Collectible Figurine. Okay, that's the front of the box. If I drop the box down to the top, again, you can see you've got that Star Trek logo there. It says Star Trek Generations, and everyone loves to get applause. Now let's just stand it back up and turn it to the side. And I think we've pretty much got the same all the way around. So Star Trek Generations Collectible Figurine again. On the back, yeah, again, Star Trek Collectible Figurine. And on the other side, exactly the same. I don't know if there's anything on the bottom. What have we got on the bottom there? So it says applause. Everyone loves to get applause. And you've got all the copyright and licensing information at the bottom there. And it says Captain Kirk meets Captain Picard, limited edition figurine. And you've got the barcode on the bottom. Okay, that's the box. Now, I think what we really need to do, we need to open the box. We need to take out the figurine and have a very good look at it, because it is a delightful piece. Let's do that right now. Okay, so I removed the inner packaging from the box, and you can see it's all still in the polystyrene packaging, taped up. And it's taped up with tape, so I'm going to remove the tape and take the figurine out, and let's have a look at it out of this packaging. Obviously, I want you to see the packaging big so you can see how it's all packed together so it doesn't get damaged in transit. Okay, so I've managed to remove it from the box, and this is the figurine in front of us. And doesn't it look absolutely splendid? And there you can see you've got Captain Kirk on his horse, and you've got Captain Picard beside him on his horse. And it's from that scene where in the Nexus, Kirk goes off chasing after Antonio, and he was going to tell her that he was going to not go back to Starfleet and stay at home with her and marry her. And Picard goes chasing after him. Kirk jumps over the deadly hole, which didn't scare him in the slightest because he knows it's not real. That's when he decides to go back with Picard to Viridian 3 and stop Soren from destroying the star. And this is that iconic scene where they're talking and Kirk saying, "Captain of the Enterprise, huh? Close to retirement?" And Picard says, "I'm not planning on it." And Kirk says, "Well, don't let them promote you, don't let them do anything to take you off the bridge of that ship, because while you're there, you can make a difference." And Picard says, "Well, come back with me, make a difference again." And Kirk says, "You know, if Spock was here, he would say, I'm very illogical to take it on a mission like this, but it sounds like fun." And that's from that iconic scene in Star Trek Generations, one of the most iconic scenes, I think, in the actual movie, where these two captains were talking about going back and working together. Okay, so there we go, and there's the back of the figurine again, and then we turn it round to this side, where you can see the backs of the horses and the backs of the two captains. So the two captains, one destiny, as they said. And on the bottom of the figurine, I'm just going to zoom in on there. That seems to have, oh, I've got it upside down. Let's turn it around the other way. So the sticker seems to have started to come off a little bit. It might be stuck onto the bottom of the polystyrene because it is over 30 years old now. So it says TM, copyright 1995, Pick applause, TM China. And this particular one is 3654 of only 5,000 pieces worldwide. So limited edition and an absolute lovely piece. Now let's get some sizes. So we're looking at overall height wise, it stands 8 inches tall, which is 20 centimeters, and that's for obviously from the, oh, I need to zoom out there, don't I? Somehow I've seemed to have got my image a little bit tight, so let's get that measurement again for you. So we're looking at 8 inches in height, as you can see, which is about 20 centimeters, and that's obviously from the bottom to the top of Kirk's head. And if we measure the actual length, and we measure from the back of the tail of the horse to the nose of the horse, and we're looking at about 7 inches again there, which is about 19 centimeters. And if I just turn it this way, so we can measure the widest point, which is the base really, and then we're looking at that's about 14 centimeters, or about 5.5 inches. So that gives you an idea of the size. So it's not one of the miniature figurines, it's a fairly large size figurine, and it is fairly heavy. I'd say it's at least a couple of kilos in weight. That is, it's quite a nice big weight, all cast in resin and beautifully finished. And let's just have a zoom in and look at those captains' faces. And I'll be honest with you, I think Picard has been done superbly. He really does look like Patrick Stewart when he portrayed that part. Captain Kirk, maybe not as accurate as I would have liked to have seen, but you know, these are cast resin models, so they're probably a little bit more difficult to sculpt the faces accurately, but it's not overly too bad of Kirk, but I don't think it's as accurate as it could have been. I think Picard certainly looks a much better than the Kirk facial features, and maybe he was easier to cast, I don't know, but the facial features is a little bit off, which is a shame there. Whereas the horses are marvellous, and they've got them just about right as they appeared in the movie. Really nice cast of the horses, and overall of the horses, whole horses' bodies, and also the structure of the captains and their posture of how they're riding the horses, how Kirk was riding his and how Picard was riding his in that memorable scene. So there we are, such a beautiful figurine. Really was very nice at the time. I do have one of these in my display because I do think it was absolutely superb and stunning from the movie. I don't remember which other ones that Applause did. I know they did do a range of the miniatures and the figurines, but I can't remember seeing what other ones were available. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they didn't, but I can seem to remember that they did. Okay, how well did these do back in 1995? Well, in 1995, when Star Trek Generations came out, it was huge. I mean, the talk of Star Trek, The Next Generation, and Next Generation was so popular anyway. It was Star Trek Next Generation really catapulted Star Trek back into up as the most popular science fiction franchise in the world. It had overtaken Star Wars at that time because of the popularity of Star Trek Next Generation, and it was one of the network's highest rating television series ever. So it had done marvellous, had a huge following, and there was so much excitement around the Star Trek world when it was announced that they were doing Star Trek Generations. They were going on to the movie, which would tie in the Next Generation to the original cast, and that's pretty much what happened. I say it was a popular movie. I think the box office was a nice success because the cost of the movie was 35 million and it took 118 million at the box office, so nearly 4 times its cost it generated back. So it was very well received. About 2-hour long movie I think it ran for, but very well received, and produced again an awful lot of merchandise. Again, there was models, there was figures, there was ships, there was these figurines, there was uniforms, there was t-shirts, there was hats and bags and all sorts of things that you can mention, because it was such a big franchise at the time. And then of course, not long after that, 2 years later, Star Trek First Contact came out, and again it was just phenomenal, but obviously that was just the Next Generation. This was that bridge where they bridged the two together. So very popular. Everything really sold a lot. I can remember having these figurines come into the shop back in 1995, and literally I think we ordered about 10 because we didn't know how they were going to go, and compared to the smaller figurines that we'd had, these were quite a lot more expensive compared to those, and we really didn't know how well they was going to sell. So I think we bought 10 in originally. By God, as soon as we put them on the shelf, we had one display on the shelf. As soon as we put them on the shelf, they went the same day. Even the display one we took off the shelf and sold to a customer because it was the last one that was left. But they literally went rapidly. We did get some more in a week or so later, and again it was quite a nice flow of a steady flow of these figurines would come in and go out until we couldn't get any more. So I think we had them overall for about 2 or 3 months before they were all sold out. So there we are. So yes, they've done remarkably well. So let's move forward to 2025, which is where we are today. So we're going forward 50 years. Sorry, not 50 years, 30 years. Do these come up for sale very often on the platforms nowadays? Well, yeah, I mean, they do pop up for sale on the platforms. I think I did have a look on the platforms to see how many of these I could see. I think there was about 3 or 4 that would be an offer for sale of these figurines. Various different states of condition. Some came in the boxes, some were just loose figurines, and some was with the outer box but no inner packaging. So various different states of conditions. Some of them were sealed, completely sealed, as this one was. And say various different states of condition. So yes, they do come up on the platforms. Obviously, the only thing on a platform, remember to have a good read of the item and a good look at the item, because somebody's idea of very good condition could be somebody else's idea of acceptable condition. So there is a big scope of difference there between people's opinions. And of course, some of the platforms use stock images and stock descriptions. So if there's you could be looking at basically something like this, which is mint. However, there's no new available, so it automatically goes to the cheapest used item, and that may very well not be what you want. So do have a good look at the page. If it doesn't say new and it says used only, click the used link and read what you're about to order, so to save any disappointment when the item arrives. And which wouldn't be the fault of the seller, and it's not the fault of the buyer, it's just a silly way that the platforms were designed. So bear that in mind if you are planning to buy on a platform. Now, alternatively, you can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys Games Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you will receive should you wish to purchase. And this particular item is no different to that, and as of today, it is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website. Now, I'll just give you a brief rundown of this one. We have actually got about 3 of these available, which was part of a shop buyout that we did, and again, these were up for sale and they sold quite a lot at the time. And I think after Generations come to an end, the hype of the film was over. They still had more stock which didn't sell, so they were taken off the shelf and put into the stock room, and there they stayed until we went and bought out all their stock. And there was 3 of these in the stock room that basically had never been sold. So we were fortunate enough to buy out those stock, and we have made these figurines available to our customers on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to quite simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive this is something that you will not want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful vintage Star Trek collectible figurine with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.